Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Welcome to the 19th episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me as always are the voices in my head, Lisa.
I have no words right now.
And Nate.
I was soft as a kitten.
Oh my God.
Nailed it.
Yep.
So each week on Texas Podcast Massacre, we take a look at a different horror movie. We debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, who is usually someone that is not what we would call a horror fan. Unfortunately, I had someone lined up this week.
Yeah.
I kind of left them handcuffed in the theater room. So Lisa will be our solo unsuspecting victim, per usual.
Yay.
Yeah.
It's like I just broke free, or I would have been gone too. It's terrible.
And as you mentioned early in our news episode this week, we'll be reviewing Gerald's Game, the latest Stephen King adaptation that just came out on Netflix. So Lisa, not a fan of my intro. I kind of sprung that on you.
I'm not surprised.
It's time to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty shitty game, though. Let's be honest here. I get it. I get why not super happy. Yeah.
Time to play the game.
Yeah.
With that said, if you're ready, let's get into the debate question of the week.
We will see how the Lord favors you.
No, you dare not blaspheme. He will punish you. The jaws of hell will devour you. All of you. No.
All right. So in this movie, the main character Jessie is, has her inner voice, her inner monologue, kind of personified with her husband and herself. So my question to you is, if you could have your inner voice or inner monologue, willpower, whatever, personified, who would you want that to be?
Yeah.
And Nate, I'll kick it over to you first.
Yeah. So the movie is basically, for her, it's herself and her husband, right? It's kind of two sides of the coin. Her husband more negative, and then herself more positive, and like trying to be like effective, right, with her time. For my positive side, I would probably, if I wanted to have a person who would help me be logical, do things, I would pick Neil deGrasse Tyson to be my good side.
Okay.
Calmly explaining things, getting your stress levels down, telling you to use physics to move things around. And
He wouldn't monologue too much for you? Like,
that's okay.
Gotta get to the point.
Soothing, though. He has a soothing voice.
So even if you didn't make it, you'd be lulled.
But he would be obviously giving you the basic tools too. Mm-hmm. Although it's in your brain, so I guess you have the same tools, but he maybe bring it out a little more effectively.
So that would be your you can do this.
Exactly.
What about your cynical one?
Oh, the cynical one?
Because it's not really an angel and demon thing in this.
Yeah. He's
helpful,
dad
but
is
in a different
sometimes
way.
Yeah. And then I guess the demon one would be. I don't even know. Who do I not like?
Would it just both be? Would it just both be Neil deGrasse Tyson? And they just
no.
One of them's giving you positive things. The other's saying the physics isn't going to work, man. You're screwed.
Like, I mean, the universe is 13.72 billion years old. If you die, who cares?
You don't matter anyway.
Exactly. No, I would go. Well, fine. I'm going to go. One side is going to be Neil deGrasse Tyson. The other side is going to be Bill Nye.
Solid.
Keep it together. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Lisa, how about you?
So I'm definitely going Bear Grylls. Because how do you not want Survivor Man?
That's a good answer.
How do you not want Survivor Man helping you get out of this situation?
Drink your own urine.
Hey, she needed to get hydrated. I mean, if you can figure out a way.
Well, wait. Do you want Survivor Man or do you want Bear Grylls?
No, Bear Grylls.
Okay.
Bear Grylls.
You want a Survivor type man.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There is
Survivalist.
Survivor
not
Man.
Survivor Man.
Yeah.
A survivalist.
And then your negative person is then Mitch, right?
No.
Thanks.
No, because
Dick.
he would be dead on the floor. So.
Well, in this movie, he's down on the floor.
Jesus.
Wow.
No, I don't know who my negative. To be quite honest with you, it'd probably be myself. I could see it being myself.
Oh,
being
you're
like,
flipping it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not going to make it.
So it's
a nice try.
You and Bear Grylls are arguing about how to help yourself.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for me, I think I would go, and this is probably my brother. My brother, I feel like, would make this pick as well. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Is which one?
The positive, because he's super hopped up on heroin and cocaine or whatever. But man, he's gonna get you that energy. Like, all right, you gotta snap yourself up and you gotta get out. Oh yeah, he would do that kind of. How do you not get pumped?
Snap your wrist like a Slim Jim?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
my God.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Now the kind of more cynical. I don't know. Who would be the
Vince McMahon?
No.
He kind of looks.
If I wanted to go, if I wanted to keep it with wrestlers, I don't know. I don't know who would be more cynical.
Triple H.
No.
X-Pac.
You're just naming people at this point.
D-Lo.
For someone who says you hate wrestling so much, you sure do know a lot of them.
There was like a 3-year period when I was early teenager. I think that I know all the way from that era.
Maybe Hulk Hogan, except maybe he doesn't say the N-word as much. Would be helpful.
Yeah.
I'm definitely settled on Macho Man. I don't know about the cynical.
Okay.
Lisa, I like Lisa's answer. I could probably see it being me, considering I am actually. I feel more cynical usually. So, yeah. I don't know who's really the winner of this. I'm gonna say me in lieu of that.
No, I'm getting out. There's no way.
I would like your answer better if it was Survivor Man and not Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls is going to tell you to drink your own piss.
Yeah,
like
find
a cockroach.
Isn't Bear Grylls the guy who always tells you to do like the
gross
shit that doesn't make any sense?
Yeah, he always does just the gross shit just for ratings.
It's like if you climb up and do whatever, you could have like sat in the same spot and like use the same amount of energy for like 5 days of sitting.
I like
it's like climbing one rock face.
I like Survivor Man because he's by himself and it's just mostly him just going shit every time something falls over. That's
real positivity. That's going to help.
He's used to the adversity of what Jesse was going through.
Look,
my pick is my pick. I'm not changing it.
Oh. I mean,
I think we're at an impasse on this one. Normally I just go with Lisa's, but no, I like mine better.
Yeah. All right. I don't know that we come to consensus here.
At Texas Podcast Massacre.
Yeah. So let us know who would you have picked, or who would you have agreed if you agreed with us, or if you have a better option. There's probably better options because this was not a
this is not
a strong showing from our team.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right. Well, I guess with that said, are you guys ready to play the game?
Yes.
The Gerald's game. Okay, so we
don't play that song again.
I'm not going to play the song. I'll probably play the song again. Nope. So this week, our movie of the week is Gerald's Game.
Wake up. Just wake up. It's time to wake up, honey.
5 hours you've wasted screaming for neighbors that are half a mile away, if they're even here yet. How long do you think someone lives without water? That will not work. You can pull till your wrists break. You're not getting out of those cuffs.
You're not real. You're not real.
All right, so Gerald's Game is the most recent adaptation of Stephen King's short story, which chronicles a couple, married couple who are going off to a cabin in the woods sort of thing, lake house. I don't really know exactly what specifically.
It's on the ocean. I think it was in Alabama or something. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, somewhere in. None of that looked like.
I thought it was in New Orleans.
No, they're from New Orleans. I think they took a trip.
Yes, none of that looks like what South Louisiana / Alabama looks like. So sure, that was not shot on location. I
think it was shot in Alabama. I think I looked that up if I remember correctly.
That is preposterous.
Okay. I'll double check.
There had to have been some retouching. Anyway, so they go to have a romantic weekend. He ties her up with
romantic in quotes there.
Yeah, some handcuffs, and then he has a heart attack and kills over, and she has a fight to survive and figure out how to free herself because there's no one else around. So before we kind of get into overall reactions, I'll kind of say my piece first. So these types of movies, are very gross in terms of the subject matter. I really just don't like movies that are really heavily focused on kind of some of the rape fantasies and all the, there's a lot of stuff that we'll get into around essentially sexual abuse with her dad and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't find that really scary. I just find it gross and I don't know. It's not something that I would actively look out. So my review today is I'm going to try to stick to more how well it was done, the actual movie itself versus my personal thought about it. But I will say that right up front. I didn't really care for this movie in terms of just my own personal preferences for what I want to watch.
Wow. Okay.
If that makes, I'm trying to, as a reviewer, I'm trying to skirt that line, right? But
sure. Okay.
It's very difficult to watch.
Yeah. But that's not to say it's not well done, and we'll get into a lot of the details. But that was my, at least, overall reaction. Elisa, how about you?
Yeah, I felt kind of the same way. I did think they did a good job with the movie because a lot of people apparently thought they were never going to make this into a movie because they just thought it would be too difficult because a lot of it's in her head and stuff like that. So
it's in one place almost the entire time, right? So it could get boring, but
so they did do a good job with that. But it's difficult to watch, and I just spent the entire movie just like, how would I do this? How would I get out of this? What would I do? Just trying to figure that out. So,
yeah, I struggle with it being a horror movie. I get it.
It's more of a psychological.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of horror in there. Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah, and maybe it comes down to really how do you define a horror movie? In this sense, for me, it doesn't quite.
See people's faces getting cut off. That's pretty horror.
There are horror elements. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, what your thoughts?
I really liked it. So Stephen King is not known for writing female characters well or ever really as actual humans. That's one of the main downsides of him as a writer. He's really good at writing he's a guy, so he's better at writing guys than he is at women.
Yeah.
And this is actually one where you actually go into her thought process and her life and her backstory, which he never really gets into with other of his books.
Right.
So I like that a lot. The escape scene, which we'll go over later, is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh, so good. The subject matter about her being abused as a child and the husband being all rapey, I guess would be the word.
Yeah.
That's a thing that people have to go through. So
sure.
It's there, and so it's at least you. And then at the end of the movie, there is a positive message about it. So I liked how they did that. At least they confronted a tough topic, and then in the end, it actually ended up being kind of a positive. And we'll go through this later too. But because she was abused early in her life, it actually helped her get out of this situation as well. So they tied it in kind of nicely there. So
yeah,
I like that at least. Turning it into a positive when possible.
Well, sure,
was nice. Sure. Yeah, so that was good. At least it wasn't just totally despair.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess before we get into the main scenes, I know you usually have some fun trivia.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe not the right.
No, there's actually some okay stuff. So this one's a little lighter than normal because this movie just came out. It came out September 29th on Netflix. Right now, so it's 103 minutes, which you would think could feel very long because the movie takes place in a bedroom.
Right.
Almost the entire 90% of the movie. But I didn't think it felt that long at all. On IMDb, it's a 7.2. That'll keep getting updated, but that's after about 2,700 reviews. So pretty well received. So the director was Mike Flanagan of Hush, Ouija, Origin of Evil, and Oculus fame.
Yep.
So he's kind of crushing recently. And then the main actress is Carla Gugino, and Mike Flanagan and her will be teaming up for another thing on Netflix, The Haunting of Hill House series on Netflix next year. Nice. So they'll be he's doing more things with Netflix, and he's kind of crushing. Carla Gugino has been in a bunch of movies, Watchmen, Sucker Punch, terrible movie, but she was there. American Gangster, Ninth Museum, Sin City, Spy Kids.
Yeah, she was Sally Jupiter in Watchmen,
exactly.
I think. Yeah. Okay.
And then Gerald is actor Bruce Greenwood. He's also in Kingsman 2 as the president right now, so he's got 2 movies out at the same time. He was in the American Crime Story for O.J. Simpson as a district attorney.
Yeah, that's right.
He's really good at that. I was trying to go for the recent things. He was in the kind of action movie Spectral, also on Netflix. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. It's a pretty cool action movie. He's in the new Star Trek. He's all kind of all over the place. His first movie was Rambo's First Blood as Guardsman Number 5. I just thought that was funny. So this is, again, based on a Stephen King novel. And this is just a thing I thought was funny is that Mike Flanagan's wife is the main lead of Hush.
Interesting.
And she's like a bit part in like all of his movies, like sometimes really, really small roles.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Interesting.
Yep. That's it.
Oh,
that's all I got.
Sorry. No, you're good. You're good.
It's a sparse one.
I saw you look at your paper, and I didn't know.
I was like, nope, and the paper is empty.
All right. Well, cool. So, to me, there's obviously there are a few characters on here that we're going to talk about, but really this whole, you kind of said it, this whole movie is built around Jessie, the main lead.
Yeah.
And really her, her relationship with all these different characters. So I think starting off, I want to ask y'all, her relationship with Gerald. Let's get into that. So, the first person we're really introduced to in the story, is her husband, who's older. He's a lawyer. He's taking Viagra. They're on this retreat because they're having marital problems. Mm-hmm. And they decide they're going to go up to the cabin to, essentially try to
work it out,
kinky it up. Yeah, just
spice it up.
Sure,
pumpkin spice it up, as Lisa would say.
Pumpkin spice it. So, where do you want to start? What do you want to start talking about?
I just wrote the first scene of the movie. The opening of the movie is this couple is going to the same place and they're packing separately. First thing in the movie, I'm like, all right, well, they're fucked. It's over. They're packing separately for a trip to the same place.
They didn't.
How is this even possible?
They didn't seem to really even know each other that well.
Yeah.
Because they said they were together for 10 years or married for 10 years at least. And I don't like her putting the beef out and then him coming out and scolding and be like, that's $200 Kobe beef. I'm like,
yeah, but then he says, go ahead and do it.
No. That's not my point. My point is, how do you not know that your husband's going to buy like a ridiculously expensive cut of beef? I'm sure that's not the first time he's done that.
Well, husband's probably more like, you care more about this dog than you care about me. What's going on here?
Well, he was kind of a jerk when they almost hit the dog, and then he's like, oh, yeah, screw that dog. We're leaving.
Well, in retrospect, they should have hit the dog. Oh.
No, in retrospect, they should have closed the door.
Oh, that's also true.
Also true. Yeah. But
if she would have put the beef out, the door would have been closed.
Okay, anyway.
See? Oh.
I didn't believe their relationship.
Way to victim shame.
I didn't believe they were there to try and like rekindle their marriage or whatever. They seemed awkward.
Yeah, it was a little. I mean, he had hints. I think the suitcase thing was pretty kind of hint. But yeah, it did feel a little kind of.
My question is, was the foreplay awkward for everyone else to watch? That's on my sheet. So
yeah,
seems like a yes.
I just look. Here's the thing: if you're gonna introduce something into the bedroom, you probably want to really go through what you plan to introduce. You don't just kind of spring it on them like, yeah, you can call me daddy now, and I'm gonna
that was
pretend like your husband's not here and he can't hear you and you can't get need to get a safe word going. Need to. There's a lot in this first opening bit. That's like,
Well, I mean,
this is why your marriage is in trouble.
Ideally, if you're having problems, you don't you work up to being like in a better position to then maybe do that.
Yeah.
You don't like just go from like 0 to 60, which is what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it was a Viagra pill.
Gotta have the communication. Is all I'm saying. Safe words. Granted, I don't know that he would actually.
So that's what would I do differently? Is have a safe word.
Have a safe word. Banana peel. I don't know. Why?
Yeah, I mean when the handcuffs. So he says these are real handcuffs, right? Cuffs her to the bed.
Yeah.
I was watching with my wife, and she flinched so hard when she heard like the clinking sound of like the actual thing. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah,
real cuffs. Like that is just
that's rough.
That is unnecessary. Like times a million. Because you hear like the metal on metal, like just I'm not gonna let anyone do that to me. My wife and I agreed. My wife and I agreed that's never happening to either direction. Never happening ever. It's just.
So this movie helped you and your wife learn something about each other then?
I mean, Stephen King movies are all about, there's got to be one thing that you are scared of after this movie, right? You got clowns, right?
So you're scared of cuffs
and now it's like, okay, handcuffs are ruined. Handcuffs are just done now. It's over.
Oh my gosh.
So.
He's finding something to basically
exactly. There's one industry that hates every time a Stephen King movie gets made. And now it's the handcuff industry.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah,
is it though? Because those handcuffs are really good. They were great. They did the job.
If anything, like the makers of furry handcuffs are gonna that's gonna shoot up instead of maybe normal handcuffs.
Or when you want the kink without the danger.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like Lisa's gonna go into marketing for these companies.
I'm telling you.
Oh my God. So,
man.
Yeah, so they get into a fight. He has a heart attack. Same, the same old story.
Well, we've really been underselling how creepy and rapey he was being as soon as he got the handcuffs on. I mean, it was.
I just wrote, "This is gross."
It was gross.
It was really gross.
The quote from Jessie: "Stop calling yourself fucking daddy," sums it up pretty well. I would say. I mean, he is just going into full on. Like as soon as he has her cuffed, he was nice, right? And she's like, "Okay, I guess you can cuff me." Like she's like, "I don't know if I'm okay with this." And as soon as she's cuffed and can't move, then he just goes into full like, "Oh, your husband's gone. It's me. I got like 5 inches of steel or whatever the fuck he said." He's so creepy.
And like I said, this happens in like 10 minutes into the movie. I mean, it's very early in, and it's very jarring. And I think that was part of my initial full distaste for this whole movie. I was like, Jesus, I don't want to watch that.
Well, I mean, hey, it's
Well, but there's something about subjecting yourself to a movie in your own recreational time versus.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was just, it wasn't grossing though. I mean, you're like, holy shit, like this is ridiculous. Like, oh my God. Like, you just feel like so terrible for her. Like, you should not have gotten those cuffs.
Should not have married this man.
Well, that's what you kind of end up. Well, I mean, that's essentially kind of the point. This relationship is built on
the relationship with her father earlier on. Yeah, so it's a pattern of kind of abusive-ish relationships. Yeah.
And then again, I think it's telling that when he does have the heart attack and essentially, I mean, he dies.
On top of her. Which is
he has a heart attack first, and then when he falls over and hits his head and blood's running out, then he's really dead.
I think he was dead anyway. I think he was probably done.
Most likely.
So in the book, they imply that she killed him on accident.
When she kicked him off?
When she kicked him off the bed and
the bed's not that high.
No, but if he lands on his head. If you land awkward, you land awkward.
And especially if you're already knocked unconscious and you don't protect yourself at all.
I've hit my head falling from higher than that before. I think I'm
blood.
And I turned out TV.
And did blood flow out of your head when you did that?
I mean, when I woke up in the hospital, it seemed like they had stopped it.
But in any case, I mean, again, I think it's telling that he comes back as the essentially the kind of cynical voice in her head.
Well, I mean, as soon as she realizes that he's dead, and she might have caused it, I guess. She goes insane. So she's just straight insane. Looney Tunes, everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing else to say. Full on crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's talking to him talking. I mean, so he's a very important person in life, but there's also a marriage of you kind of find out of I guess convenience, right?
Yeah.
So kind of surprising that that's the other voice in her head, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then the way that he comes, he puts his hand on the bed,
mm-hmm.
and then
that scared the heck out of me.
And then she's like, I still see your dead body, and you're talking to me. Oh shit! I've snapped. I've officially gone off the rails.
I've lost it.
And then she sees herself, escaping.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, you have. If there's any doubt about her insanity, when she sees herself escaping and then is in the bed, it's fucking over. It's done. Yeah, there's no chance.
I will say, a lot of movies try to get this balance of when is it in your head? Is it really happening? And sometimes it comes off as hokey. Sometimes it kind of is a cop out.
Yeah, sure.
I'll say this in its benefit. This thing really pulled off that line. You really weren't sure, or even when you were sure, it was still so well done. Watching her kind of play out the scenarios in her head and how they're talking and like him saying you've been wasting 5 hours just yelling my name
for people who
nothing.
are not. Yeah.
You've wasted so much time. It was very well done, very well acted. These interactions.
Yeah, Carla Gugino carries this film pretty outstandingly. I would say. She did a great job.
Yeah. Particularly, being in the one, essentially in the one position.
Yeah. I mean, she's basically just handcuffed to a bed again, most of the movie. So
yeah, and I think the way they reveal how to get how she gets the water, making the straw, nothing was like. None of it really came across as hokey MacGyver-ish, right? Like
too far fetched.
It was very, very.
Oh, yeah, very reasonable. Yeah.
So, while this is happening, the dog, as we mentioned earlier, has come in and is
kind of feral-ish.
Well, it's just wild. I don't know, feral.
Yeah, it's become. It sounded like it was
It's a scavenger,
dog.
right? It gets food where it needs to get food, and that's what they were trying to get at.
And it just ate raw Kobe beef, so.
And it's been eating roadkill.
Yeah.
So, dead
fresh meat.
Yeah, it's.
Immediately comes in, is like, no, survey this. This guy looks pretty good. Looking up the blood, taking a slice of his wrist or his arm or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well. And that's when I turned to my wife and said, that's why I'm a cat person.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'd like to think my dog wouldn't.
Eventually, it is gonna happen.
Yeah. I think cats would do the same thing though.
But but cats can't. They don't have the same ability. Like that dog is huge, right? I mean, that dog could mess you up. A cat, you have way less problems.
Unless one of those toy dogs.
Well, this was not a toy dog. This dog was 67.
No, this dog was huge.
Yeah.
Did we just go into our debate question of the week? Cats versus dogs? Is that what
cats
happened?
win, hands down. Next.
Well, in what regard? Okay, we're getting off track. So, yeah, so I like having the dog in there
as an antagonist character.
Yeah, well, as kind of what's spurring, because otherwise she's just kind of sitting there, just kind of waiting it out, but no real that impending danger of when does that dog get tired of eating?
Yeah, once the meat starts getting bad or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that comes from me. Yep.
Yeah. Now she's also plagued by visions of what she calls the Moonlight Man. Kind of
at night. Yeah.
Supposed to be kind of personified as death. He shows up with that box of real trinkets and bones and shit, and it looks really. I will say this. I'm watching this movie and I'm saying, oh, everything looks so clean and good. It's so low budget, and then you see the CGI work. And I'm like, man, this looks really shitty.
Oh well, yeah.
It wasn't really. I get why. I get why. It just still
there wasn't a lot. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of it. I mean, it reminded me a lot of Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not.
I don't think I have.
Or Max von Sydow was playing chess with death and stuff.
Okay.
Death's around. It kind of reminded me of that. Death is coming, and then it's a character you interact with, like a physical person.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And then that was also another thing to spur her to go quickly, because at the end when she's trying to actually when she gets closer to escaping, the reason she gets it in gear is oh that guy's coming for me.
Yeah,
I gotta get my ass out of here.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: not including I think the one thing we'll talk about later, of all the things that she kind of reasoned out or worked out, what were you most impressed with? her MacGyvering, I guess.
The straw. I mean, I know that sounds lame, but the straw is actually kind of.
When she used the
And I'll go with the
yeah.
water. So so there's because he had to take the Viagra. There's a water thing on the shelf above her, and she does a nice little tilt of it to get it to one of her hands, and then uses the dress tag.
Yeah,
and twirls it around to make it a straw, and then drinks. I mean, that was freaking.
Yeah, that was good.
And what I loved about it too was she gets the glass first, and then she's like, "Fuck yeah, I got it."
It's like in her hand. She's like, "Oh, I didn't think this out."
She's about to freak out, and if it wasn't her voice as the kind of the positive energy telling her, don't lose your shit. Just put it back.
The water is literally the most
down.
important part of everything, or else you are just 100% dead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now later she gets it again and she just dumps the water out, which I was like, you can still drink in it.
To drink it all first,
and then use it for the next part. Yeah,
that's true. There were some cool details in this too, like her lips were getting chapped over time.
Yeah, I liked the progression.
There were some small things that they were making, like she looked weathered. Like it was, the toll physically on her was being shown in the movie, and I think that definitely helped it for sure.
So let me ask you this: so going kind of back to Gerald. There's a part in it where he kind of mentions the joke about the really terrible joke about man I don't even remember what it was.
He said what is a woman? It's a life support system for the vagina, basically.
Except he didn't use vagina.
I'm being nice. This guy and Rosemary's husband Guy could really have gotten along pretty well.
Well, but
they're terrible.
But that happens in her head technically. And I realized that she
had heard him say that before.
Well, she made that a joke, but then the question of is this just really how I've always been? Am I kind of thing? And I guess I'm curious what you think. Do you think that that's really just her mind kind of trying to tell her to kind of stop freaking out over him? Because remember, up until that point, she's just like losing her shit, going insane because she's just calling out his name, trying to get him to wake up.
Yeah.
You think that it's just a self-defense mechanism, or do you think that it was really meant to say that he was really a piece of shit and she was just kind of falling into that?
I think it's just a piece of shit.
Yeah, I think she's reevaluating her whole life. And then she realized, oh yeah, he kind of I heard him say that joke. I didn't say anything because I was nicely happy in this kind of loveless, but we have
rich
money,
marriage,
marriage. And now that I could be dead, I'm like, oh, I fucked that up. This guy did suck. Yeah. I just didn't look at it because everything was going fairly well for me. So I think she's reevaluating everything. Yeah.
Okay. So through these talks with her, her, I don't know, inner voice,
her subconscious.
I guess. Yeah. It's trying to push her to thinking about her past. Which, to a point, I get it because, you're trying to get the whole story of her character. Same time, there are parts where I'm like, I don't know how this fully gets her to survive, but sure.
Well, it's part of that. She is insane, so that's also a part of it.
Well, I know it's part of it. Yeah.
She's going back through her life basically and figuring out how she got here.
I get it from the storytelling perspective, but it's like, Brain, you're getting a little sidetracked. Let's focus on how we get out of this, and then we'll go down memory lane.
Well, but going down memory lane is where she eventually gets the idea for how to get out. So
I think it also helped her maybe take her mind off the terribleness for a bit, because it seemed like she was kind of in and out of delirium during part of this too. So it was kind of maybe it was helpful just taking her mind off it temporarily or something. I don't know. Yeah,
and so when she does go back into her, I guess I don't know if they're really repressed memories, but just her memories of her past. We find out about her relationship with her father.
One positive of this, because everything else is negative that you're going to go over. The eclipse imagery is freaking awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the show the eclipse.
Well, and the symbolism of it.
Symbolism, and it's even in the ending credits. There's the curved letters have in the director and all that stuff have the little eclipse light beam around it and stuff.
They wanted this movie to come out a few weeks ago.
On the eclipse,
they wanted it,
and
they just
October because horror, but then the eclipse happened. I was like, come on.
Well, and they were waiting on it probably. They're like, oh, I just gotta get.
Well, then was it 3 weeks? There's the other one, the 19. What's the other one? The other Stephen King one coming to Netflix? 1912 or something
like that.
1920
I can't remember.
But so they Yeah, the schedule for
again, Stephen King
adaptation
doing very well.
It's a packed schedule, so they probably had to just fit it in wherever. But
yeah, right. So so
this dad though. Ooh.
Okay, so
and mom, actually, they're both terrible.
In this particular, that she goes back to this time over summer when she's 12, where her and her family go to a lake house again. So she's back in a lake house again.
Lake houses are just rough for her.
This film, the production company did not want to pay for multiple location sets. It's all, it's probably all the same.
Yeah, same lake,
same house. But yeah, so she doesn't want to go in the boat with her family. Her mom and dad are kind of getting a little fight about it.
Well, her mom doesn't like her.
Yeah.
Well, because the dad is paying too much attention to her. Yikes.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, we could go through blah blah blah. Essentially, she's watching the eclipse. He asked her to sit on his lap.
Like she's doing.
She's very clear to explain to her subconscious that he didn't rape her, but he was touching himself. So,
well, he masturbated while she was sitting on his lap.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
Yeah. Very gross. And it was done in very drawn out as they were bringing up to, because you knew it was like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, imagine being that girl. I mean, drawn out times a million. Oh.
That's what I mean. This is where I wrote this movie is fucking gross.
Yeah.
I just said gross earlier.
Well, but the scene that was almost even more disturbing was the scene in the bedroom afterward, because then the dad comes in
and psychologically
and manipulates her. So it's like, we have to tell your mom and everybody. And I don't think she'll blame you. I don't think she can hurt us or anything. And like, oh God, and then so basically getting her to say, oh no, I won't tell anybody. Like, don't tell her, and almost make it feel like the dad did her a favor by not telling.
He gets her to beg, like, please don't tell her, please.
That was worse, almost worse than the masturbation.
Yeah,
I think. What do you think, Lisa? Like, I mean,
they're both.
It's hard to compare, but I mean, that was equally probably.
They're both completely
bad.
awful. And then the thing, the scene when she eventually does cut her hand, and the dad's like, "Okay, let's go wrap your hand up," and just that look between her and her mother. Because she's like trying to convey a sense of, I don't want to go with dad alone. Like something's wrong. Like figure it out, because I can't say anything. And her mom, you could tell her mom kind of maybe knew something was wrong, but I guess she never pursued it. So
yeah,
it's horrific. It's awful.
Well, and it's crazy because she's explaining what happened to two parts of her subconscious,
right? Her
husband and herself.
Yeah.
And she's finally admitting, again, this is why this whole movie is like an evaluation of her life, because she's like, oh, I'm going to die.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of it she suppressed, right? Because she couldn't cope.
Well, no, that she suppressed it. I think she very knowingly just decided, I'm just living with this. So she's stuck there. Suppressing it would be that she completely forgets what happened. I think she's just like, I'm not telling anyone, even myself.
Yeah. And the dad basically at one point just basically blames the eclipse. Like, I got caught up in the eclipse. Like, fuck you.
It's like people who are like,
when
there's a full moon, more crime spike.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you guys just any excuse to jack off, you're gonna take it. Apparently, it doesn't matter what it is. Like Guy Fawkes Day or something. Oh, it's Guy Fawkes Day. What am I supposed to do? Not jack off with my daughter on my lap? I mean, God, this guy was the worst.
Yeah, gross, fucking gross.
Was he dead or was he still alive? I never caught that. It seemed like he might have been dead.
No, he was dead. They mentioned it.
He was dead, right? Okay.
So, I mean, you're seeing how this relationship with her dad is essentially carried out with her marriage to Gerald. It's almost same older guy.
Yeah.
They're both lawyers. Her dad was a
lawyer also. Yes, that's correct.
A lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So
she kind of gets back in that cycle.
Yeah.
Not quite as bad, I guess, this guy, but in general.
But I also wonder if that's why she didn't have children, because she wouldn't want anyone to. She was nervous.
Well, because she mentioned about wanting to protect her younger sister.
Yeah.
And that was part of it, especially because you see the mom's pregnant.
Yeah.
Again, great, just gross.
Yeah.
Overall.
Let's talk about the positive male role models in this movie. The Moonlight Man. Comparatively.
I do it before we get far. Sorry, my note is not in the right spot. You'll appreciate this though.
Yeah.
There was a line though where Gerald was trying to I guess get her to understand, that, when the coroner comes and finds you, they're not gonna.
Oh, that whole death monologue was spectacular.
They're not gonna know what you really saw and all. They're just gonna write that. Oh, it's just a fun accident, essentially.
Death by misadventure.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he was making this whole case of like how died by fear. To die of fear instead of what the words say on the actual certificate. Like really, death is fear, not whatever they write there. And I was like, that's basically how Tourist Trap tried to explain that one girl's death that gets plastered. Like, oh yeah, she died of fear, not that she couldn't breathe because we put plaster all over her fucking face. And I thought, Tourist Trap again, carries through.
This was done slightly better than Tourist Trap. I'll admit that. No, that monologue.
The monologue is great.
The monologue is the best dialogue of the movie by far. I mean, he is menacing. I think also that helped her.
Spurred her on
too.
And that's what I say.
In his own terrible way, he's like, dude, no one's gonna fucking know any of this. Like, if you just die, it is over. Yeah, and no one will ever know what it was like and how the Moonlight Man was tormenting you. Mm-hmm. And when you wake up from that dream or that the flashback to your dad jacking off with you on him, that the Moonlight Man was licking your toes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was something. Yeah. It's like, you gotta get out of there, man.
Okay. So the Moonlight Man then, who, Gerald was telling her his death.
This guy makes Nosferatu look like Brad Pitt. I mean, he is terrible. Says it all. I don't know. He looked rough.
Yeah, and he's just kind of watching her for a lot of it.
I mean, how tall? This guy's like almost 7 foot or something. He looks huge.
I'm curious. I mean, do we know who he? Did you ever say who he was or what he's been?
No, I don't know.
All right. So
I didn't really want to look at that guy ever again, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not only does she have this dog eating her husband, now there's this dude licking her toes and
eating her husband.
You find that out, that he's eating her husband.
But I mean, the whole movie, you think that he is also a figment.
Well, he's death. It's death coming for her.
Yeah.
To me, they didn't. I'm jumping ahead, but to me, they didn't do enough with him to make you suspect. Wait, is he? Is he not?
Well, no. The thing that made him real that she saw and was pointed out was the footprint.
Yeah, but I don't think that was enough. Like, there could have been other little subtle things.
Yeah, the guy.
Oh, it's Lurch?
It's Lurch from the Addams Family movies.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that he looks like an Elephant Man-esque Lurch.
Yeah. I'm just happy that he's keep
getting them checks, Lurch.
Oh, he was in Men in Black too. He's one of the Anyway, sorry.
No, but I mean, the footprint was very concrete.
Yes, it was. But I thought they could have done a few other things.
Yeah.
To just kind of...
And I think the toe licking probably happened, but she was just so in and out of being crazy.
Well, because she thought it was the dog at first.
Yeah,
I just don't think that they gave it... Like, when the reveal happens at the end, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it
didn't come off as shocking enough.
Really? Okay, I thought it was interesting because
it did seem sort of tacked on to me. I get what you're saying.
Like on the radio on the way there, they mentioned like some graves had been whatever. Like it was on the radio. Like, on their drive up.
Yeah. Actually, I missed that.
Yeah, there was some other stuff that they kind of like threw in little tidbits here and there, and there were some robberies that they said also too, like in the paper they showed, and that he was taking jewelry and stuff. So,
well, okay, so let's get into what the reveal is. Yeah. So you do find out the
Moonlight Man.
We're jumping around a little bit, obviously, but
it's a dude.
You do find out, that it's this guy named Jobert, I think. Yeah. He's basically essentially he's sort of Ed Gainish. He is robbing graves, he's kind of stealing the jewelry off. He kind of graduates to becoming a bit of a cannibal. So
and then going after live people.
Yeah, but only like but he's mostly eating men. He's not eating women.
We only has sex with the men, so that's lucky for her.
He only eats the men too, because that's why he wasn't. He never really attacked her.
Yeah. Well, toe looking. I don't know. It's kind of relatively. Best case scenario is toe looking.
She didn't lose a toe.
You're in a bad spot.
Yeah. So so she, he ends up getting found out by that. And I agree. I missed the news announcement, but I kind of agree. When you do find the reveal, it feels a little tacked on. When you're like, oh, so that part was real, which don't know if it was that shocking of a twist. Like
I thought it was cool. I
didn't. Yeah, it was.
It would have been cool. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It would have been cool, but to me, they didn't drop enough.
But you didn't think he was real
hints
until until they like said they caught the guy and you saw him in the courtroom, right?
But I should have had doubt. If they had done it well, I would have doubted it. Been like, wait, I was the opposite.
I
don't know.
I figured it was real. I didn't think it was that.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was just kind of hokey. I thought the backstory. I was actually kind of hoping it wasn't real.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I sound like I like the Moonlight Man more than you guys did, but
yeah.
No, I mean the idea of him and the concept of having that twist would have been great. I just didn't feel like they built it up enough.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was kind of a major, like, she tried to escape, and so I guess we should probably just get into the escape.
Well, yeah. So this scene.
Oh man!
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing how bad they made his CGI face look. That Moonlight Man.
Yeah.
When this scene is so well done. So one of the things where she realizes that she cut her hand open and they were gonna have to fix that. She realizes, if I break the water glass, I can use it to essentially cut off some.
They call it a degloving injury. Because it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
I get.
Do you want me to explain it?
You do it. Yeah, I can't. I'm actually going to just you go ahead.
Okay, so let me set the scene at my apartment when this happened. So I was watching this with my wife. So basically, this is right after the scene where he's saying like the coroner, when they find you, like this is what death is going to be like and no one's going to know, right? And that spurs her on. And then the Moonlight Man is coming, spurs her on, right? And so she's like, all right, I'm finally going to do this. So the glass that she's been using with her right hand to grab it and stay alive, she grabs the glass, breaks it, gets like a pretty good shard, and lodges it into into that shelf, right? The wooden shelf above her head. Now, what was super cool, and again, how I was saying, like how it takes the negative of basically child abuse and turns into a positive, is that after that she was suicidal for a while. So she knows that if you cut your wrist, it's not as bad as like cutting yourself other places because there's less like nerves or whatever there. Yeah. And so that's why she's like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna start cutting my wrist. But the thing is that she doesn't just cut her wrist. She cuts her wrist sideways and she's angling it so she doesn't kill herself by bleeding out, right? Which is what you can do if you commit suicide there. But then not only does she go sideways on her wrist, then she takes it in the same spot and goes from her wrist and just drags her hand down to get the carve, like the shard carving to like almost like the bottom of her middle finger.
Yeah,
that was the part that was totally unnecessary. And my wife, so as soon as she decided to do the glass, her face turned about like a quarter of the way. Then when the glass shard was like lodged in and she was getting ready to do it, then her face was like halfway turned away. Once like the first cutting started, and it's as graphic because you see the skin like lifting up.
It's so well done, and you see like the nerves, you see all the like the
then she was done, and then I was basically narrating it to her, like, she's cutting. She cut it all the way sideways. Oh no, why is she cutting it up toward her middle finger? And then basically I'm just doing like a high pitched yelling play by play. And then, she's pulling her hand down and the skin is bunching. And I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But that's why you could tell why she cut her up. Yeah. Cut it up. So then her skin would pop off or pop up so she could pull her. And once it gets to like one of the fingers, then she can pull it through.
Yeah. Gloving injury.
It was very well done.
Very well done.
I mean, it looked real. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
I say the highlight of the movie. I mean, it was.
Cringe factor to 11.
I used to be, it was like Hellraiser. You see those scenes. I used to be very like, I hate that shit. I'm usually not very squeamish, but
this is like that times a million.
A million. Oh yeah. Oh, it's like this is among a number of reasons why I could never be like an ER doctor or something.
Yeah.
Also because I don't know a lot about the anatomy, but
yeah, that's the thing. So, but knowing that about killing herself because of that did save her life, though. And that's why that was, she went back.
She's able to get to remove out. She tries to call 911 with the phone, but the phone's dead.
Yeah.
So then she's able to get the key.
And she's moving the bed very smartly.
Yep. She collapses for a little bit. The dog starts nudging her, like
trying to bite her
on her.
Bite her
so she woke
jacked up hand.
Yep.
Oh.
And then she gets in the car and it starts to drop. Oh, she actually drops off her wedding ring. Her wedding ring to the Moonlight Man.
It says, "You're not real. You're made of moonlight."
Yeah.
Well, and what was really funny and very smart was that her hand is fucked up, bleeding, whatever, and she takes out pads and she covers it 2 pads. Super smart. That was spectacular.
I liked that,
Oh my god, the MacGyvering in this, like you said, Lisa, was not like ridiculous.
Not ridiculous.
It was just like very effective and like very smart and totally reasonable. And I loved that.
Yep. So she does end up getting the keys to the Jag and driving away. She does, of course, pass out.
Yeah, I mean, that would be...
Do Jags just not have airbags? Because nothing to pull. Like, she hits this tree. This is not an old, shitty Jag or something. This, I mean...
Now, in the Moonlight Man thing she saw in the back seat, was that the real guy or is that her imagination?
See, I think that's her imagination because he calls her Mouse, which is what her dad used to call.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no way that's the real guy.
Again, 2 movies in a row where Mouse is a negative. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities in these 2 movies. Yeah.
And so in the final scene,
but she crashes into a place where people hear it, and then
so she gets rescued. So
yeah.
The last scene, and when she finds out about Javert being the actual, like he's a real person, she's talking about how they never could find her ring, with but they're revealing all this shit at the same time. She's already telling the story about the grave robber. So it all kind of hits back to back. The revelation just kind of hits all at once. So letting it sink in.
The ending was too abrupt.
Why couldn't they find the ring?
It was too abrupt. The ending. Yeah.
So I think that would have helped, Lisa, what you were saying.
Yeah.
She goes to court to see. So she's writing this letter to her child self saying, we deserve the sun. Really kind of hidden. In case you hadn't gotten that the eclipse was a symbol that she's been living under this.
It's happening.
One of it. Just making sure. She goes, we deserve to live in the sun. She goes to the courthouse, sees the guy who hasn't said a word until he sees. This ending is really kind of hokey. This is where kind of
the ending
just rush.
The ending was a little bit better. This could have been like an all timer almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was getting the ending was just way too abrupt.
Yeah,
but then he turns around and says, "You're not real. You're made of moonlight," which is what she said when she dropped the ring.
And it says,
off.
"You're so much smaller than I remember you being." And then she walks out with
like boom, like mic drop.
Yeah.
And then her eclipse that has been happening since she was 12 finally lifts, and you're like, oh yeah, there's sun in the world.
Yeah.
They decided to show us a sunlight shot. That was nice of them. And then, and she's helping victims of parental child abuse as well, which is helping her. But then until she confronts the Moonlight Man guy or Javert,
they rushed through all this shit in
they rushed
10 minutes.
They rushed it. Yeah. It could have a little bit less in the room, a little bit more toward the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been better, I think. But
it would have been nicer had they been laying some of those seeds about the reveal. I think throughout, because again, we clearly weren't paying attention. It would have been nice if he had gone back to rewatch and be like, oh shit, they were saying it.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I mean, we've kind of covered the movie. Is there anything else real quick I want to get into before we get into?
I mean, the moral of the story is just men are terrible, right, Lisa? I mean, is that basically
they're horrible people?
Well, they're all dogs, and they're just going to do.
They're all dogs.
They're all just going to do what dogs are going to do.
Men are dogs.
Yeah, basically.
I'm glad you guys finally realized that. It's good.
This movie is doing a public service.
All right.
There's no positive men in this entire movie.
No.
Yeah, none.
No.
It's like 4 or 5 and they're all terrible.
Betting he asked, none in the world. No positive men anywhere.
We do what we can.
Oh.
We do what we can.
We do what we can.
We do what we do, yeah. Okay, well, so let me ask you this then. What would you have done differently?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. I
want to jump in first.
Okay.
I've got the one of the key things that should have happened, and I think I someone else said it better. I'm just gonna. This is what I would have done differently.
I chime in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door?
Close the goddamn door. She sees it. She knows it. And she's like, I mean, wait up 1 second before we get started. Let me close and lock the door so a fucking wild dog doesn't come in and start gnawing on your face.
They need to have one. They need to have one of those like in my apartment when all the doors open or close, there's a little beeping thing that happens like for the alarm thing. They needed one of those.
Yep.
So then, it's beeping. Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Wait. Agreed. Yeah. Just annoy the shit out of you. Nate, what do you do?
I say, and I just preface this by saying I do not have stock in any sex toy companies, but you gotta go with the furry handcuffs always. Yeah. Real handcuffs is excessive. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That is gross. Furry ones, all right. It's more fun for everybody. You can definitely break them if you're life dependent on it.
All right, Lisa, what about you? What do you do differently?
What wouldn't I have done differently? I don't know. There's so much.
Cut your hand open earlier.
So much. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe you know you're going to have to do something extreme one way or the other. There's no other way around it.
I guess I would say I throw in also, like, stop sleeping. Like, wouldn't you be like, there's too much sleeping happening?
Yeah, but I think at some point, if you're starving and you're dehydrated, you can't control it. You're just going to pass out.
I think they tried to explain it. I think they mentioned, like,
Yeah, but you can go without food for, like, weeks. I mean, it's not like...
But water?
Well, she had water. Not a lot.
Like a few ounces.
Okay. That's true. I guess so what you're supposed to have, which we learned from all the hurricanes we have here, was to have 1 gallon per person per day.
Yeah, she still wouldn't have been able to get to it.
And she had like a third of a glass of water. Okay, that's pretty bad. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Not
okay.
good.
All right.
Not good.
I retract my
Yeah, so I think one thing I would have done differently, and I even thought about this because I tried it on my phone and it didn't work. But most of the phones are voice activated now. And so I was yelling at my phone. I was like, Siri, and she didn't respond. So I'm going to have to fix that because, I mean, she could have activated the phone and gotten help right away. But you have this technology, like, use it.
So literally during the movie, we paused because my wife had to go to the bathroom. And then while she was going to the bathroom, I said, Alexa, call wife. Boom, call.
Boom, done.
So again, I'm not. Amazon is not sponsoring us, but get an Alexa.
And also, I don't have any desire to be in a house like far away from people. I just don't.
Okay, so just don't seclude.
Yeah,
yourselves.
I don't get it. You know, it's just not.
It doesn't. Go camping? You like go camping or anything like in the woods or anything?
Well, but I feel like even if you go camping in the woods, you're usually near a campground where there's other people. You don't just go off.
Or if you're in a camp.
Lisa's a city mouse.
Okay, city.
Don't say mouse.
Yeah.
I don't.
And now mice are ruined.
Yeah.
See, everything gets ruined. Handcuffs, mice, nothing sacred.
The same thing with what's that other? It Comes at Night. I mean, for that one, that made sense, I guess, because it was the apocalypse.
The
and they were trying
seclusion is
to stay
actually
away.
positive. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just I don't like that.
Okay.
Basements and being in a house in the middle of freaking nowhere, not good.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So awards, Lisa, is there an award you give for this?
Honestly, the Survivor Woman Award. Because, I mean, she went through a lot of shit and she still managed to get away. Like I said, the entire movie, I'm just sitting there going, okay, what would I do? Would I try and kick the bedpost? Would I try and do this, that, and the other?
Yeah. She couldn't really get leverage to kick the bedpost.
I know, because she was twisted funny.
That would have been your best, like, legitimate shot.
Yeah.
But it's not possible.
But she did it, and I mean, she was brave enough to cut the crap out of her hand and get out and survive. So it was impressive.
Yeah.
Nate,
I have a bunch of awards. I have Man's Worst Friend for the Hungry Dog.
Nice.
I have the Golden Degloved Award to Jessie, and I have the Arrested Development Award to Jessie's Escape.
Nice.
Wow.
Jesus.
There you go.
Yep. I got a couple. So, best life coach goes to both Jessie and really more Jessie herself. But,
really, wow.
Yeah, but herself as the subconscious. I would also say best bladder control because it is 2 days that she's here, and
I think they just didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with that element.
Well, I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying.
If you're really dehydrated, though, you don't actually urinate. So because there's nothing to.
And if you're starving, I guess you wouldn't because you.
I guess she had
everything.
Maybe she didn't eat. She didn't eat. She didn't eat that Kobe steak.
She went before the sex.
Did someone go get that Kobe steak? Is it still sitting in the freezer over there? I wonder. $200.
Like go to the corners, it's like joink. Hey,
let me put this in evidence.
There's $600 of Kobe beef here. Let me just grab that real fast.
Absolutely.
Also, maybe take some snacks into the bedroom with you. I don't know. That's a thing, right?
Snack play. Let's get rid of the rape fantasy and just go snack play, like George Costanza.
Yes,
Seinfeld.
with a sandwich.
Like a sandwich.
Oh my god,
that would help.
All right, so
bring a sandwich into the bedroom. That's
sustenance.
What else I would have done differently?
Well, and when you bring a sandwich, to cut it, you need to have
Final cut.
Made a lot of sense in my head.
Yeah, I was like, that was the worst pun than I.
No, it wasn't. I don't know what I was trying to go from there. So I apologize on behalf of all of us. Okay, so Nate, what do you give this?
I give this 8 out of 10 little blue pills. I really liked it.
Okay.
I really liked it. The end. If the ending would have been a little better, well, 8. It's like a 7.5 round up to an 8. I think
that's fair
for me. Yeah, the escape scene by itself is like 5 points.
Yeah,
I mean, Jesus, that is crazy. I like the Moonlight Man better than you guys did, and then that monologue about death that he gives her, or whatever. I mean, it's good. I eventually at some point I have to like trick my wife into watching the scene because she was into a pillow like the entire time. So hopefully if I can do that.
We're going on record as saying you should not trick your wife into.
Yeah, not trick, convince. Sorry, convince.
Whatever word you choose to use, I'm going to say.
It's October. Come on.
Lisa and I are on record. Amanda, do not watch that.
Okay.
I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 Kobe steaks.
Ooh, okay.
Again, very well done, considering that it's only really 3-ish main actors.
I mean, this director is crushing. I mean, he keeps doing pretty fantastic stuff.
The ending, I think between the ending and I think the reveal, if they had landed harder, we're looking at close to a 9.
I
but
agree.
I think it's 7. Even though this is a movie, I don't know that I would recommend a whole lot to people. I will say it's good.
Definitely.
Lisa,
I'd probably give it. I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one. Somewhere between a 6 and a 7 out of 10.
Well, you got to pick.
No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. Find 6.5 out of 10. How about that?
Oh man, you're just breaking the scale now.
Yeah,
I don't even know what's happening.
There were parts of it that were brilliant, and there were parts of it that fell flat. So, and I mean, the Moonlight Man, when they did introduce him, did scare me because, I know when I'm alone in the dark and I hear something, I'm like, oh my God, what was that? He
just like kind of pops forward like a tiny bit, so still mostly shadow, but
it's really creepy.
Oh, that guy's face is messed up.
And I know if our dog got up and started whining or barking or anything, it would scare I would know that something was wrong, scare the crap out of me.
I mean, we know from Game of Thrones that no matter what happens, the dog will eat you. Because Ramsay's dogs ate him, right? So, I mean, again, cats forever.
But he abused the heck out of those dogs. All right, we don't need
maybe
to
just stop abusing live people and animals. Just stop it. You stop that. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Texas Podcast Massacre. Nate, where can they find us?
They can find us at texaspodcastmassacre.com. You can tweet us at TXPodMassacre. We'll have some live tweets going on for some cult or American Horror Story cult episodes. We got some horror haikus. We have some parody videos. The last one for Rosemary's Baby to the Ice Ice Baby song is pretty great, I think. And Rich's video is real good. And then we're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and all your podcast platforms.
Yeah, and if you are enjoying the show, please make sure to leave us a rating on iTunes and Stitcher. Help us get out to more people. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell loved ones, whoever you would like to join in on the party.
Yeah.
With that said, for all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much for listening in, and just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.